back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So, Jesus Christ, fucking World War III and nuclear annihilation seem to be getting closer and closer. Vladimir Putin last night, just before I went to sleep, which made it real easy to sleep, said in an interview, he said basically if there are strikes deep within Russian territory with certain weapons, those weapons are being authorized by the US because the Ukrainian army and Ukraine just in general doesn't have the capabilities to strike that deep inside of Russia. They have to do it with the help of US and NATO and Europe. And he said if there is a strike with these particular weapons deep inside of Russia, it will be seen as a declaration of war against Russia. And basically, Russia will now be at full-scale war with NATO and the US. And God knows what that means. The absolute restraint he has been showing is insane. They just keep pushing him. And Anthony Blinken said, yeah, we're going to authorize it. We're going to help Ukraine do this. So, I don't even want to think about it anymore. I've been thinking about it all fucking day. What happens then? Russia and China are basically together. So China probably invades Taiwan. The US will have to respond to that, which they'll have no hope of doing. Then Russia, I suppose, will just have to flatten Ukraine. Just completely flatten it so it's not a fucking issue anymore. And then I guess it's full-scale war with fucking the NATO countries backed by the US. So the US is going to be stretched to its limits in two wars, which it obviously can't fight. So hypothetically, they would use like a nuclear weapon as a deterrent, which it's not going to be much of a deterrent because fucking Russia has more nukes than the US and apparently more powerful ones. Plus, all fucking the chips and everything for the US military is made in China. What happens if China fights a war against the US? They just cut off all the supplies. I don't even see how that works. Then while that's going on, an opportunistic Israel would probably fucking hit Iran with something brutal. Like, we're living in very, very precarious times here. There doesn't seem to be anyone on the US side that even gives a fuck about trying to avoid nuclear war. I was thinking about it, like, where do you want to be if that kicks off? Who knows, that could kick off fucking in a week. I was thinking maybe India would probably be better than Australia. I mean, Australia will probably be safe because we're just too fucking far away, but you're stuck in Australia. That's the only problem. You'll probably not be able to leave Australia for the next 20 years or something. Whereas India, you're sort of in the thick of things and it's more of a neutral country. They're sort of allies with Russia. They don't get along well with China. They're sort of allies with the US. So they'll probably stay out of the whole thing. I don't know if the nuclear wind or winter will affect India. It probably will. It's just so goddamn fucking depressing. I had to stop myself. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. I feel like when you talk about something like this, it's like more likely to happen, sort of. But then also just ignoring what is actually going on doesn't fucking help either. It's just fucking, I gotta meditate again. Or just sing Sera. Sera, Sera. Is the girl's name Sera? Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. Like, you have to build up some sort of like protective guard or shield against just the negativity, just the fucking the horror of just everything. That's why when people turn to God, like people are turning to like Christianity, Catholicism, all sorts of religions now. When people say that to me, I'm like, I get it. Seek some shelter from the storm. Be a good person and believe in a higher power. That's comforting. When I was just a girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? But it is all very concerning. And then after the Putin thing, someone in the Russian parliament said to, I think the UN or something like that, some Russian politician said, yeah, if these missiles reach Russian soil, we will consider that a declaration of war by NATO and the US against Russia, and we will act accordingly. Can they just fucking stop? Just stop, all right? I really need to sit down at some point and really figure out my thoughts, like the chances of different things happening and their implications, and just generally how the future might play out and what the best path of living is. Mainly, what's the best way not to feed into this? Because even just saying this on a fucking podcast, I feel like it's not helpful. But then also it's like, do you just bury your head in the sand? Or do you just go full religion, Buddhism, work for a higher power, a greater power, a bigger cause type thing? I feel like that's the way. Well, I really know that's the way. But it's more like, yeah, when do you pull the trigger and become that thing? Anyway, these are just some Saturday musings. Hopefully the world hasn't changed by the time I wake up in the morning. But for tonight, that'll fucking do. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see ya the fuck later.